Okay, so hello everyone. So this is the video presentation for the second journal article that I had to read for one of my early childhood education classes. The article that I chose is titled Becoming Upended, Teaching and Learning About Race and Racism with Young Children and Their Families by Kirsten Cole and Deandra Verwayne. Is Verwayne. This comes from Young Children, the May 2018 edition. So, and I chose this article because I've always, well, not always, but recently, in like the recent years, especially after having my own child, um, wondered when it was that children actually realized that race was a thing, um, understood what it was, and actually knew what theirs was. So I honestly, I don't remember. I'm not sure if you guys remember. I don't remember the first time that I realized that I was black. I mean, it's something that, I've always known, but, of course, I feel like these things are, children don't know these things until it's brought to their attention, until somebody else says, or calls them whatever race it is that they are. And I just think that they just have no concept of it until, someone else mentions it to them. And normally, well, I won't say normally, I think probably what happens is when they get into an environment when they see someone else that looks differently from them. Um, my daughter is 5 years old now, and it's something that she asked me about maybe when she was younger. We were in her room maybe, and she was like, touching, and she was learning colors, and she said, "I'm brown," and she said, "Mama, you're brown too," and I said, "Yes." I said, "Daddy's brown too." So, of course, I didn't take that opportunity to let her know that she was black because in her head, we're looking at colors and we are brown to her. So if you take something black, and put it beside, we don't look like we're black. But as far as like our race, we are black. We're considered black. So that's something that she doesn't, even now, I don't think she understands what that is because we've had that conversation again within like the past few months or so. And I think I tried to tell her, but again, she went back to brown. So right now we just let it stay brown until she's able to understand it, exactly what it is that we're referring to. Now she does know, or she will refer to, like when she sees other children or people, she knows that what their race would be, she would call them that they're white. So, she knows that we're brown, and then, some of her friends or other people that we see, they may be white. We were recently, we went on a Disney cruise for her birthday, and we were sitting at a table with this other family. If you've been on the cruise, you know how they'll do it. Sometimes they'll put you at a private table, sometimes they won't. So you'll end up being with the same people every night when you have dinner. And there was this another little girl. She happened to be 5. And the parents, they only had the one child with them as well. And we were talking, and I noticed that they were speaking Spanish to one another, and they were speaking English to the child, both English and the Spanish. And I think she's probably learning. She's like English learning because she was speaking Spanish, and I heard her mom tell her to say it in English, or she would say something and her mom would tell her to say it in Spanish. So I think right now she's in the process of learning both languages because they speak. Of course, they speak Spanish at home, and I'm pretty sure they speak English at school where they live, in Florida, I believe. But I asked the mom where she was from because I didn't know, of course, what country she was from. And she said that they were Cuban. So the little girl, her name was Scarlett. My baby likes to remember her name. And they were coloring together. They were having a good time. I think this might have been like the second or the third night. And the little girl just randomly she said, "I'm white and you're brown." And the parents looked like they were just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that she said that." But I just sat there because I knew that what she was doing is she was just recognizing what the differences were, and that, and it was okay. I just smiled and I said yes. I said yes, she's brown, and and that was that. Like it wasn't like a conversation to be had or anything else, after that. But the parents looked like they were mortified that she said it, But I smiled because it's okay. They're young and they're just getting to understand these things, and that's because these are things that they are being taught. And again, it's like when they see someone that's different from them, that is when they recognize that. There is a child that attends the after school program at a daycare where my daughter goes, and she would always tell me all the time. She said Felicity's mom is brown and her dad is white. Okay, well, I'm just like, okay, well, that's okay, that's cool. And I actually know who Felicity's parents are. Excuse me, I've known her mom since she was a little girl, and I'm friends with her grandmother. My God, friends with her grandma. But when I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, that's who she was talking about. But yes, um, I have another one of my, I call him my best good friend. We've been friends since we were maybe like 8 years old. He's a black guy, and his wife is white. So their son, I remember him saying one time before um, that he was brown and that his mom was not, that she was white. And he was like, when he would go outside, he's like, I'm going to get brown. I'm going to get more brown. And mom, you're not. And so she thought that was funny. She was like, well, yeah, I know. It's okay. But, it seems like it's about like the same age. I think Samuel may have been about 6 at the time. He was a little bit younger. He may have been like 8, but it seems like it's like the later preschoolers and like the early elementary age kids that are learning what the concept of race is based on their own characteristics from themselves and within their families, and then once they go to the school or probably church or wherever it is that they go. Um, Let me see. I think I've done a lot of talking and didn't even tell you guys what the article was about. So the article discusses when they begin to notice race and how educators and parents guide and teach children about racial identity and issues. The author, she provides some historical context by defining and explaining some of the core components of racism and justice and equality, which I think is a good thing, because some people get those things confused. They don't really know how one is defined and how it is different one from the other. The teacher, she created an environment where the parents could communicate with her. I think she does it weekly, and just to ask how things are going, to get feedback on certain things from the parents if they have any questions, any suggestions, or anything that they want to add. There was one assignment that one of the mom, it was a white mom, that she had an issue with, and that was because she didn't really understand why the teacher was doing what she was doing. And this is a great idea, and actually something that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do with my own child. So she had the children, it was an assignment that they had. It was like, well, what color is your skin? What color is your hair? What color is your eyes? Like those type things and stuff to self-identify with the children. And that's so that they could, notice those things about themselves, but then again, about their friends, about their peers, about their teachers, their educators, and probably their family. So it's just pointing, those things out. It would be things that are similar and things that are different. And I feel like that is a great way to introduce that to them instead of just telling them, hey, you're this and they're that. Because I don't think that, especially with like in the early years, I don't think that really sticks with them. They don't fully understand it, and it'll be something that they probably would wonder about, or of course they're going to question it, and they may ask questions that seem to be embarrassing, or stuff that the parents may not want to handle, or especially if they do it with other people, just how children do, and they'll just come out and say anything. If you have children, you already know they'll say the wildest things, and it's just like, where did you even get that from, or why are we even talking about this? Like, we're eating McDonald's and you want to talk about I don't know, outside pajamas, just random things, and do it like how they do. But the teacher, she didn't not the teacher, excuse me, the parent, she didn't understand it until the teacher explained it to her as to what they were doing. I know right now with a lot of the things that are going on in this country, my God, it has become a sensitive topic again. I'm pretty sure it has always been a sensitive topic. Maybe I don't know the other aspect of it. I can only know the part from my side as far as like being black. It hasn't been like an issue, I guess, for those that I know, unless somebody makes it an issue. And most of the time, it's somebody that is not black that is doing that. That may be making derogatory or condescending remarks in relation to a majority of people that may or most likely are not true. And that's a problem. People watch a lot of TV, people are in social media, and unfortunately, they believe a lot of things that they see and that they hear without getting to know someone. I remember a while ago, reading something about like how it's different for us as Black people because we see other people all of the time. Like it's almost like we don't have the option to not see them. But sometimes in white spaces, they have plenty of places and ways as to not see anybody else. Like whatever's in their community, their schools, their churches, or whatever. But where we go is everybody else is, even if it's like small in number, they're going to be there. We're going to see them. They either own the businesses, um, in the classes that our children go to, maybe more so not so heavily populated in the schools that we'll attend, depending on the area where the schools are, because a lot of times, of course, people that can't afford, they won't send their children in areas that have like predominantly minority students, which are going to be those that may more than likely going to be like poor or impoverished neighborhoods. So a lot of people try to avoid that at all costs, even if they live in that same environment. So it's not like a thing of it's not available or these people are not here. It's just that they can choose or have the option to choose not to be. A statement that the mom that did not like the assignment made was one of the things that she was taught, that she doesn't see color. And I feel like that's a harmful statement because that's something, it means that you don't see me. So if you don't see color and you feel like everybody is the same, and a lot of times people that say that absolutely do not. But saying that you don't see color and that you're colorblind, and that they try to do that as a positive statement. But again, like I said, I feel like there's something that's harmful and it's hurtful, because that really does mean that you don't see me, you don't see us, you don't see him. And you don't recognize that we are, who we are. That's not something that we can take away. It's something that we're going to always be. It's not anything negative, no matter what the connotation is that's placed on it. It's just, it is what it is. But saying, things like that is pretty, I feel like it's harmful, but, it may not be. I'm not sure how, little children, would interpret that or what it is that they think about it. And again, like, I don't remember when I first, noticed my race. I do remember very vividly, though, how I was treated by by other people in my schools. I did have like some Black women teachers when I was at school, but I never had. I'm trying to think really quick. I don't feel like I've ever had a Black male teacher at all. Now, I graduated high school in 2001. The elementary school that I went to, I live here in Florence. I went to North Vista Elementary School, and I think it was the first one, because it used to be the high school, and I think it was the first time it was an elementary school, and there were no white children at that school. None. I went there from kindergarten until the 6th grade. And I think when I was in the 6th grade, we had 2. I want to say, and it was, of course, they were siblings. I feel like there were only 2. And they transferred in from wherever they moved from. So this was in 1996, 5, I think, 1995. And then, I went to middle school. So for me, it was a culture shock situation when I went to middle school, because I was smart. I guess you could say that I was gifted or whatever, but I went from going to only seeing Black children, and we moved and I went to Southside Middle School, and because I was smart, I was in the what they call the enriched classes, and then I became the only Black person in my class. So it was shocking. I mean, it didn't cause me any, harm or anything. But of course, there were times when the other students, we had to be partners and everything. I hate when teachers do partner work a lot of times, like group work, and then they let you choose, because that place, other kids like in an awkward position when nobody wants to be your partner. And a lot of times that happened to me. Nobody wanted to be my partner. It was almost as if I had to prove to them that I was smart enough and worthy to be in the groups with them. So that was something that I didn't particularly care for. One thing, I guess I'll wrap this up before I ask the questions that I have, is that I love now that in literature and in toys, especially dolls, well, the same thing for the boys too, is that they have more people of color. I love to see that. I don't remember really like being younger and like being able to get like a book and like to see, like any black children in there. If you did, it was almost like they made the white children brown or something. I didn't see any kids, that had the natural hair, that had hair, like mine, that had braids, or little boys that had like the haircuts and the fades like, our children have. And I think that that is incredibly dope that my kid gets to see like those books, and not just well, yeah, for my kid, but then for everybody else as well, just so they'll know that everything is more inclusive as far as that goes. I remember having one when there was a Kenya doll, and that was the first black doll baby that I ever had. And no, I had a Cabbage Patch, but she was when I tell you she was black, she was like charcoal, like black. They had the whatever variety they had and everything else, and then they had that one that was available for us. I think we had Stacy, maybe the Barbie that we had, but the Kenya doll was the one that reflected me. Like even though like I'm black, like we have, oh god, an array of skin tones, so there was never one that I could relate to. But I remember Kenya having three, and my sister's dark skin, so my mom brought her the darker baby and got me the lighter one, and we were like so happy. I know that I was to have one, that looked like me, and she had like curly coily hair, like we do. So I was excited about that. So I am happy and enthused that our children have those options for those things. Um, I love to see when children that are not black children, that they choose, those toys, because those toys look like their teachers, they look like their friends, probably even some of their loved ones. But I have seen where, um, like if a little white girl picks up a brown doll, or has one, that she's questions as to why she has that. I I don't remember at all ever seeing anybody asking or questioning, any black children why they had a white one, or an Asian one, or they have those now, or Hispanic one. Any doll that was not black, I did not see anybody asking any black children as to why they have that one. But I have seen several times little white children asked why they have one that's not, you know, that's not white or looks like them. But that makes me happy. So the questions that I do have, so if you remember, how old were you when you had your first experience, or remember or noticing your own race? Um, do you remember when someone else made you first note your own race? How do you feel when you learned about racism, prejudice, bias, etc.? Do you plan to incorporate lessons on race and racism in your own curriculum? And how will you handle opposition from adults if you do teach it? So those are my questions, and hopefully you guys will. I'll place the document in my discussion board as well, because it has the link to the article that I read. But it's a very good article. I enjoyed it, and she has a few things in it that I will incorporate into my own curriculum for my own children. Thank you.